What?
Yeah,
Oh,
so people doodle
okay, he wants me to read this. Welcome to the All-American Otaku Show, is that right? Okay, don't kill me. Thank you. Bye.
That's so good.
Join the ride, jumping in where the stories collide. From the screen to the song, this is where we belong. All American Otaku, let's come alive. Let's go.
Hello everybody, welcome to the All-American Otaku Show. Today's subject is anime in the 90s. We got a special guest for this one for the next 2 episodes in Louie Louie, also known as Louie Louie.
Yeah, and Bastion, but you can't see him.
So, the first thing I want to talk about how anime in the 90s, we're going to ref back and forth, is Yu Hakusho.
You mean Bleach?
That's the more common is like it known as Bleach, yes.
Yeah, but I think it was probably not. It still wasn't one of my first '90s animes. I'll bring up what my first anime in the '90s was, but it sure wasn't that one, and it wasn't really kid friendly. But even this one wasn't that kid friendly, actually.
Nah, most of the animes in the 90s, except for maybe Pokemon, weren't kid friendly.
Yeah, actually, a lot of the animes were not meant for kids. They were meant for young adults.
And then Digimon was not really kid friendly at all either.
They were dark, very dark, very dark monsters.
And if you think about all the top animes people think about, your Cowboy Bebop, 90s anime. Trigun, 90s anime. Blue Gender, 90s anime. Fully Cooley, 90s anime. Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, Dragon Ball Z. Outlaw Star.
Outlaw Star.
Oh, Dragon Ball was before, but yeah, Dragon Ball Z was 90s.
Dragon Ball Z, 90s. One Piece, 90s.
Which Naruto, a lot of people don't know either.
Naruto, a 90s anime.
Mm-hmm.
When you think of top animes that really defined an anime generation, with the exception of Demon Slayer and maybe My Hero Academia, or it's all 90s anime.
Yep, and it's what made people. And then it's funny because back then people didn't realize what anime was. They just thought it was. Well, for Mexicans, obviously, I mean, I didn't watch it. I was not from Mexico or anything, but they watched it in Spanish and they didn't think it was anime. They just thought it was just another cartoon, another American cartoon.
Exactly. When I was growing up as an anime fan in the 90s, they were like, oh, someone always asked me, did you get bullied for liking anime in the 90s? No one knew what it was. No one cared. There was no t-shirts. There was no merchandise, really.
And in the United States, at least, there was, like, no merchandise.
No merchandise. Probably in Mexico, they made a piñata or something of it.
Actually, yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. But, you know, for me, yes, during my time, because obviously we're 20 years apart, during my time, like later in the 90s, yeah, you would get bullied for it because it was like a taboo to watch something like that, even if you were a kid. Especially because then they knew it wasn't like it wasn't a cartoon, and it was very childish to watch cartoons. And no, yeah, I mean, I never got bullied for it per se, but at the same time, I wasn't very afraid of being bullied.
And anime in the 90s, they didn't care about guidelines or things like, you go for Fist of the North Star, major 90s anime. You have heads exploding, boobs showing, and this was supposed to be a shonen anime for young teens.
Like for me, like I said, my first '90s anime, I believe, was Blue Gender, and that one, I mean, that was the first time I saw nipples on a like detailed nipples on an anime or a cartoon, because that's what I thought what it was. And obviously now, I mean, you do see a lot of fan service, but it wasn't like that, and it wasn't ecchi. This was just a normal thing. There was no etch. I mean, there was. Like now you see that genre and it's obviously ecchi, but back then it was just normal for them to be some type of nudity or drugs or gore.
Exactly. For instance, a popular 90s anime we forgot to mention that's influenced The Matrix, that has influenced all these different shows, Ghost in the Shell.
Oh yeah, Ghost.
First opening scene, Major Kusanagi come there, you see your breasts.
Mm-hmm. But like I said, it was because it was normal back then, because it wasn't meant for kids. It was meant for young adults.
Exactly.
Like a little escape from reality.
And if people say anime is for the kids, here's a stereotypical 90s anime. Ghost Ninja Scroll, first opening scene.
Oh yeah.
The rock guy throws this boomerang, slaughtering all these ninjas, blood coming there, rips off this girl's there, and the chest and sucking on her nipples.
Yeah, dude, right from the rip. Yeah. And then obviously even the ones that were, I guess, considered ecchi, like Tenchi Muyo, like that one was not meant for kids. Even I thought it was meant for kids because I thought there was like, to an extent, like, because I had barely seen Outlaw Star, so I thought it was like, oh, another space. No, there was it was my first harem.
Exactly.
My first harem that I watched.
Another '90s anime that was a major for things like that was Inuyasha.
Oh yeah.
Inuyasha had a dark story, dark themes. You have Soshiro who hated humans but who had good character development. A lot of people don't like Soshiro because he ended up with a little girl later on. Is the same girl that he raised. Well, they don't realize it wasn't really grooming or anything. It was character development for him. He didn't like humans. He didn't like half demons, and yet he chose the first person to save a human girl, and ended up having half demons himself. That kid, Soshiro was a prime example of a '90s anime character that had character development, which you don't see a lot in normal main anime anymore.
I know it's a little not really off topic, but what did you think about the continuation of Inuyasha?
The continuation I thought was really good. I liked the idea that they had daughters that were half humans, and one of them actually was raised by Kagami's parents and little brother and such. And the idea that it really continued the story with it without going for, oh, Naraku's back, or going for the low-hanging fruit. The idea that the characters are strong but not overly strong. And the idea that Inuyasha's daughter ends up being a bounty hunter and going for other demons and stuff, which was really cool. The story was really good. The development was really good in the Inuyasha's new series. A lot of people didn't like it because they expected it to be just like Inuyasha. But
yeah, because I honestly, that's what I assumed. I went in there super blind, and I didn't think it was daughters. I thought it was still going to continue with them, but obviously they're not.
But they do have Inuyasha in the new series. Inuyasha is in the idea where her father was, and the idea where the skeletons and the adamantine when he gets there, and you see Inuyasha there, and first thing they do, they start sniffing each other, and then they hug each other, they argue there. It was like a your daughter and father moment. It was beautiful, it was sweet, and it just really made you have the feels.
Let's go back to the actual 90s then.
Back to the 90s.
What was your first 90s anime? Not 80s, but 90s, because I know you grew
My
up.
first 90s anime was probably Outlaw Star.
I think for me, like I said, it was Blue Gender. I'm pretty sure it was Blue Gender, and obviously Cowboy Bebop, and then Trigun, all almost at the same time. They just came at me right away, and I fell in love. And that's when I realized what anime was. I obviously did. When I watched them, they were subbed. They were subbed still. And so for me, which obviously we're going to get into another conversation later on with the voice acting. For me, it was weird seeing it for the first time in dub. But like I said, we'll save that for another conversation.
What threw me off through one of my first animes I rented at Blockbuster was an anime called Crying Freeman. Opening shot, the guy jumps up in the air, fires a gun, blows the guy's head off, and then the girl's like, what do you want? What do you want? He's like, okay, what do you want for your last thing? She's like, I want you to do me.
What the? See, like I know when I used to go to Blockbusters, there was those sections, and I thought till this day I haven't seen them, and I remember there was a lot of dark. I still consider them anime. I think now they would be considered like hentai, I guess. But yeah, there was a lot. There was actually a lot at Blockbusters, and I never touched them because for me at the time I think I was watching Digimon, a lot of Digimon.
And of course, one of the animes that were more tame in the 90s. But if you watch the actual Japanese version, there was 3 episodes that were taken away from the American and never shown in there.
For which one?
Pokemon.
Is it the Porygon?
There was the Porygon episode where it's causing people seizures.
The Jinx one, I believe?
There was the one where they have the tentacles coming out and destroying the buildings because of 9/11.
Yeah.
And it was a bikini episode you had...
Wasn't it the contest? No, it wasn't the contest.
It was a bikini contest where you had Jesse and James were trying to there. Jesse had plastic boobs, and you have Misty come there. People looked at, the bikini contest, it's going to be there. And the person who wins it, which was kind of funny, was Ash's mom.
Ash's mom, yes.
And she gave Ash the prize.
Yeah, I still remember. Jeez. Yeah, no, but even in the mangas, that Pokemon is not for kids either.
It isn't. It's because in the '90s and things, we weren't sensitive. We weren't crying about everything. We just took, okay, this is cool. We're going to watch it. '90s was a great time to be an anime fan. Great time for anime. Any anime people think is their top anime, 9 out of 10 times it comes from the '90s.
Do you think well, I do, but do you think it becoming popular in America and because everything gets desensitized or it gets made for kids? Do you think that was a it was a big reason as to why we got a bunch of more colorful animes?
I think so.
Well, I mean, for kids.
I think so. And I think for the kids, what it became, why the animes became for kids, is because the colors and for kids and made it so it's like, okay, this is made for kids.
Yeah.
But it's like, but what really drove us, a lot of us older people who got into anime is because we grew up with watching cartoons. And then we had for me, it was a cartoon called Heavy Metal.
I remember Heavy Metal.
And it was like, okay, they actually have stuff for more adult stuff. So I went to Blockbuster looking for more adult anime back in '93, and that's where I found the anime Akira. It's not in the '90s anime, it's an '80s anime, but it was like, okay, this is my type of thing. And I've been a hooked to an anime fan since.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think of, again, a top anime from the '90s, Cowboy Bebop. Everyone who, when they think of top tier animes, it's always Cowboy Bebop.
Even famous people. I mean, yeah, even famous.
Famous people.
Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves wanted to play Spike Spiegel.
Yeah.
He wanted to make a live action. Wish he would. It would have been better, but I digress. Just like the Ghost in the Shell, they try to make a live action and more tame, and it just doesn't work.
It doesn't.
You shouldn't. And the '90s weren't about taming and civilized thing. They were like raw emotion, and that's what drew us in anime in the first place.
No, yeah. There was not Tenchi Muyo JXP. I think Tenchi Muyo JXP was still 2000s. It wasn't 90s anymore.
Another '90s anime, Zoids.
Oh, Zoids. People don't talk a lot about it.
They do not talk about a lot of it. You can't find it anywhere.
And you know what's also funny is a lot of people that I remember didn't consider it be mecha or mecha anime because they're animals.
Yeah, but it was a great mech anime, and another '90s anime people don't talk about, Zatch Bell.
Zatch Bell, underrated. I believe it never got finished over here, but
It never
at least
did.
the anime.
It never did.
Yeah.
It was a great anime, and I'm still curious who won the contest.
Yep. I liked how it was kind of like Pokemon, where you taught, their abilities kind of just, they learned their abilities, and, well, it was a spell, obviously, but I don't know, I thought it was cool. I think I want to say I played they had a game for it, too, like a fighter style game.
But we almost forgot one of the most key women anime. Every girl who says they got into anime or looked there is Sailor Moon in '90s anime. We have Sailor Moon in the U.S. It was light effects, but in the actual Japan, they were nude when they were shifting to costumes.
You know what other night? It's because you brought up Sailor Moon. Oh, underrated for me. One of the best monster. Well, you could say like monster when it comes to like having a team of monsters. For me, the best. One of the best. That I actually liked it over. Oh, there's Bastion. Over Pokemon and Digimon, Monster Rancher.
Monster Rancher, another key '90s anime, and another '90s anime that was for Magic Girl people tend to forget, Card Capture Sakura, where they're looking for clown cards and love interests and things that you wouldn't see for characters that age normally. No, it wasn't really sexualized the way you might think. It was more like, okay, I've got this, and here's a cool change outfit. It was a great anime for kids, great anime for there, and it's a great anime for the time. A lot of people's first anime was Card Capture Sakura.
I personally didn't really watch it too much. I think at the time, like I said, I had Digimon, I had Monster Rancher, obviously Pokemon, I had Dragon Ball. I was, at the time, I want to say I was watching not Samurai Champloo, Ninja Scrolls.
Ninja Scrolls.
I was still watching Ninja Scrolls. So I didn't really want to watch anything that was too childish because I was already watching Pokemon, and I wanted to go for more of the darker, I guess you would call them seinen, right?
Yep, seinen.
Seinen. I grew up on seinen, so for me to get into the closest. Oh, I mean, obviously Naruto. Where when it comes to shonen was Naruto, Dragon Ball, because everybody whoever grew up in the '90s, it was like even if you didn't wanted to watch, it was kind of always everywhere.
Exactly.
But for me, it always has been Sennin since the '90s.
And then there was the revolution of anime fans where they got them into anime that came out in the 90s. Toonami.
Yep, Toonami was a big push, and then obviously, like I said, something that we're gonna bring up on the next episode. The fact, the voice, the person that for me that made me stay in Toonami was the voice actor.
Exactly. And I remember when Toonami first came, I was like, finally I get to watch anime on TV instead of going to Blockbuster.
Yeah.
Blockbuster was hard being an anime fan because only way you could get a new episode and you hope no one rents it is, okay, we're going for the new episode, let's get it on VHS on Blockbuster.
Yeah. Now for me, I got lucky that where I grew up there was a lot of a big Japanese community. So like I was mentioning to you earlier today and yesterday, that they had like, I remember it was like in the 900s channels for local, with just the numbers. They had news, and then in one of the things at night, late at night, like between like 7 to 12, they had anime, and that's when I watched Tenchi Muyo. That's where I ran into Outlaw Star, and yeah, thanks for the Japanese community that we had where I was living.
Exactly. And of course, people who had anime crushes in the 90s, they had Sailor Moon or one of the Sailor Scouts. Everyone wanted to get with one of the Sailor Scouts.
For me, obviously, it was always oh geez, I forgot her name. Cowboy Bebop.
Faye Valentine.
Yeah, no, Faye.
Faye Valentine.
Yeah.
Who was really hot. And if you look for what Faye wore, you couldn't get away with a female character wearing that today. In fact, when they did the live action, they kind of tame it. Well,
not just that, but they did. I remember that they tried it, and the actor just said it's not comfortable.
Exactly.
And I don't blame.
And even in Cowboy Bebop, one of the characters that was a really good-looking character that people don't remember is when they had the show Hot Shots on there.
Yeah.
There was a bounty hunter girl that actually had a cowboy hat and talk about the new bounties of the day. She was even skimpy and everything else for that.
You know what got me into sports was anime, and the first sport I wanted to do was boxing. And what was during the '90s? What boxing was it? Well, obviously one of them was I want to say it was considered Ippo.
Ippo, yes.
Yeah.
That's a good 90s anime. And another anime that's redone today that was 90s was none other than Grappler Baccae.
Oh, yes. I forgot how graphic that one was, too.
The first one I seen is Grappler Baccae was facing a guy called, that is clone cobbing, where he would go in there and rip out your nerves. And it was like, holy crap, that's just pretty damn cool.
Well, that's actually Baki, remember?
Yep, Baki.
Yeah, dude, yeah. But, like I said, with the variety of anime that are out, I feel like they're still not as graphical as... And then there is... I want to say it's a mecha one. It's a mecha anime. I want to say it's I want to say it was a movie, but it could be episodes where the graphics even they look so like the art's different from now.
Yes.
And it almost looked more realistic back then, as much as a lot of people would say like, oh, we have better graphics now, and yeah, we do, but there were scenes where it looked
real and
yeah, the motion of the grass, the motion of like I think it's a war scene. I want to say it's a mecha. The shots, and then even when people were getting blasted by shells.
And and of course we both forgot this 90s anime, and people tend to forget this 90s Berserk.
Berserk.
That just shows
which has been remade a lot.
That shows the idea how graphic there is. You have boobs, you have blood, and they're not afraid to say anything. Mm-hmm. Guts' life is extremely tragic.
Being used and abused.
Used and abused. There's no character in there that we would say is innocent, or either there's no character in there that just didn't have something messed up happen to him. Yeah. It was such a great day for anime, and that's anime in the 90s.
Yeah. Like I said, for me, I'll still rewatch 90s over
2000s.
Over 2000s. I mean, yes, a lot of my all-time favorites, stuff that I have tattooed, are are from the 2000s, but my heart's always gonna belong in the 90s just because of it opened up my mind and my brain, obviously the same thing, to thinking differently. Because there's a lot of animes that even though yes they were gory, they spoke about real life things and they try to implement it now, but it's more like when a kid sees it, they're not gonna see that the second meaning, the actual meaning behind what the episode is and all that stuff.
Prime example of one that's they redid it for the 2000s. That was Tamer, but came out now. Ramna 1/2.
I didn't get to watch.
Ramna and a half. For one of the first scenes you see Ramna when he turns into a girl. Sure, in the bad scene, first thing you see, her boobs. And then you heard the girl that he was supposed to be arranged to marry comes in there thinking it's a girl come there. You see her boobs. And then you realize, oh crap, it's a guy. She comes in there, screams, and slaps him. And it goes for the main rivalry there. It's the idea of they love each other, but they hate each other at the same time. It was one of the first animes to implement that, and that came out in the 90s. You have the idea of martial arts thing, the idea of arranged marriages, all sorts of these little subtexts in there. Anime a lot nowadays miss subtext. And if you want to go for an anime from the 90s that had a lot of subtext, Fully Cooley.
Fully Cooley. What we were talking about last night. A lot of, and that was, I think, to me, the first coming of age anime that I didn't even know was a coming of age anime.
Exactly.
Yeah, each episode's a little bit of him maturing in a certain way.
Well, that was our discussion of 90s anime. And this is, again, Louie Louie.
Yes.
We got the name from Louie Louie because of the great song, Louie Louie.
Louie Louie. Louie Louie Louie.
And we'll see you in the next episode together for voice acting. And we will have Riley Chase Fox talking about voice acting as well.
Oh, yeah. Obviously, voice acting. Well, we'll save that conversation for later, but voice acting was another reason why I started rewatching anime. Because obviously, originally I would watch it in Japanese with subtitles. And the subtitles weren't so good.
Exactly.
But yeah, thank you for having me.
And thanks for bringing us to your YouTube.
Yeah, and tell us if we forgot anything or something that you guys watched that we never watched, and maybe we will watch it too and review it.
Put in the comments below, and if you liked our comments or thing, put subscription and put a like.
Get 100 likes and I'll shave him in live again, even though he's already bald. Well, bang.
Bang.
Morning pages, thinking tea, dog-eared panels next to me, late night quests and chapter breaks.